Finding problems? That's easy. They exist in every community. I'm Terry Springs, your host. We're looking deeper, and we are talking solutions, finding out how we all can make a difference. Kathleen Miller is with us, Executive Director of the Living Grace Home in Henderson. It's so nice of you to stop in.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
As soon as we heard about this is wonderful. An expectant mom trying to find a place to have that baby, and that's what the Living Grace Home is all about.
Yes, it absolutely is.
I was reading some stuff, too, and saw the piece that Beth Fisher did on News 13.
Yes.
I just think she's wonderful anyway, and part of the Positively Las Vegas stories and such. And when Beth was talking about it and you guys were discussing it, and stuff that I've read, I remember once I read the story. Kathleen, one of the things that came out is the fact that some of these girls, these pregnant teens, who need a place to stay while in this very, very critical phase of their life during this pregnancy.
Yes.
They need a place to stay because their parents kicked them out?
Sometimes it's because their parents kicked them out, but honestly, Terry, sometimes they've already been away from home for a while. They have run away, or the parents have moved away and they didn't want to move. And so they have been couch surfing, or in some cases living with the boyfriend, and the boyfriend kicks them out. But whatever their circumstances, they find themselves pregnant without a roof over their head and no place to go. And for 13 years, from 94 to 2007, when we opened our first home, there was no place. There was nothing in the Las Vegas Valley for a homeless pregnant teen. And we say teen, but really our age range is 14 to 22, because there's nothing magical about turning 18 that suddenly makes it so now you have a roof over your head.
Oh, now it's easy.
Right.
Low stress. I'm 18 now.
Yeah, I'm an adult, and so now I've got my job, I've got my... No, there's no magic age. And so 14 to 22, so we talk about pregnant youth.
And I read that Living Grace Home has been involved in births for about 300 kids over the years?
No, 150, 300 families.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
I knew the number 300,
Yes.
and I thought, wow,
Yes.
That's still a lot.
It is. We're approaching our 8th year, and we've opened our second home. And so we extend their stay for those young ladies that are not finished with high school, or maybe a vocational training program, that just need that extra time to get on their feet so they can be self-supporting and self-sustaining.
It's been a while since I was in high school. But back in the day, when a girl came up pregnant, very often she did not finish school.
That's true today. But even more alarming to me is that the studies that we have looked at show that 57% of pregnant teens, that 14 to 17 age range, have left school before they get pregnant. 86% of those do not finish high school by the time they are 21. And so that is part of our mission, is for those young ladies who did leave school, they're very credit deficient. We partner with the Cowan Sunset program to help them retrieve those credits that they're behind, to try and reduce that number that do not finish high school by the time they're 21.
Wow. And when you're pregnant and you're looking for a place to stay, I'm just thinking all these things that are coming up just in our conversation, all of the stumbling blocks, the fact that our area here in Nevada, we have a low graduation rate to start with.
Exactly.
So we already have that challenge. And you've got the challenge of the pregnancy, trying to find a place where you can be safe and live and maintain and go to doctor's appointments and the things that you need to help raise and create a healthy baby.
Yes.
And then after the baby's here and you're now a mom, you need to have some kind of an educational background so that you can support your kids.
Yes. And that's all part of the program at Living Grace, the very basics. How much is that living wage in order to take care of your children? So first you have to know, how much does it cost to live in Las Vegas or in Henderson or in North Las Vegas? How much is the cost of living? Because if you don't know what that is, then you don't know what you need to make in order to support yourself and a child.
Kids are expensive to raise.
It's expensive to live. They often throw out the number, it costs $250,000 to $300,000 to raise a child from birth to 18. If you break that down, if you divide that number by 18, that's only about $50,000 a year, not even that. So really, how much does it cost to raise a child? Yes, there's a cost involved because anytime you add another person, but it costs to live. If I'm just going to move into my own apartment, I'm probably not going to move myself as a single person. I wouldn't move move into an efficiency for the most part. I'd have at least a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. So if you're looking at Las Vegas, the average is $806 a month for rent for a 2 bedroom. If you're looking at Henderson, you're looking at a little over $1,000. So even if you don't have a child, it's just expensive to live. And if you don't know what the cost of living is, if you've had no income, if you've had no job, and you've had no education in terms of what the cost of living is, you have to start with the basics. So as my first house mom said, Kathleen, I just can't assume these girls know anything. We just have to start from scratch.
They're practically babies.
Yes.
So you are providing more to these expectant teen moms, these young moms, than just a place to sleep.
Absolutely. Much more than just a roof over their head. We are a roof over their head. We are a warm, balanced meal. We're a bed, but we're also the warm shower, food in the refrigerator. New young lady that came last week said, it's so cool to have an oven that works. So she'd been living in a place where everything they did, they had to microwave because they had an oven, but it didn't work. Things that we take for granted.
That's what I was just thinking, taking things for granted.
Oftentimes not had access to. We're also a shoulder to cry on, a ride to the doctor's appointment or getting them back enrolled in school. And we don't just throw them a bus pass and say, here, these are the things you need to go do. We actually have a cadre of volunteers that help transport the girls to the welfare office, to get them enrolled in school, to their doctor's appointments, to get that ultrasound, to the parenting classes, to the budgeting classes. So what we're actually working at trying to do is just plant some seeds, but reparent young ladies that for the most part have dropped through the cracks.
Give them some tools to work with so they can succeed.
Yes.
All of these wonderful things that you do have got to have a cost involved.
They do, but I think that we stretch a dollar until it screams. Because we operate 2 homes. We transport the girls to all of their necessary appointments. We have on-site social worker and case management, and both homes we operate for less than $240,000 a year, which works out for the 2 of them to just a little under $20,000 a month. And that is with full-time supervision. Both houses have live-in staff and then part-time staff that supervises when those full-time house parents have their days off. So these girls have full-time supervision. They're not left on their own, but in the process, we're teaching them how to live on their own.
With their new baby.
With their new babies, yes. And we start, again, with the basics with the babies. We have parenting classes that we collaborate with family to family, and we also refer them to the Clark County Parenting Project. But in the house, when a new baby comes home, the mantra is, feed me, burp me, change me, hold me. Feed me, burp me, change me, hold me. Feed me, burp me, change me, hold me.
It goes on and on and on.
Because hold me is every bit as important as feed me, burp me, change me. And if they are going to attach and bond with that baby, they need to be holding that baby and they need to be looking that baby in the eye so the baby can make eye contact with them, because that's their first person they're going to attach to, mom. And oftentimes, because of their circumstances, moms haven't been attached to their moms and their dads. And that's why they're at Living Grace.
Hope is born here.
Hope is born here is our slogan.
But how do you pay for all of this? Where do you get your funds?
I beg. I go.
Not too proud to beg. That's all right.
No, I beg. You know, I don't have a little bell that I ring outside the grocery stores at Christmas, but I speak at churches and Rotaries and Kiwanis and business groups throughout the valley. We have been a member of the Henderson Chamber of Commerce for the last year, and it has been a true blessing to be involved in the business community in Henderson. And my house parent from our second home also speaks at churches and different organizations. Because of one of our donors, we're actually set up to where we can accept appreciated assets. So people who have benefited from the almost tripling of the stock market since 2009, if they don't want to have a taxable event, can make a donation of appreciated assets. The benefit to them is they get a full tax deduction at that appreciated value without having to pay capital gains. The benefit to us is it helps pay our monthly budget.
You guys are just, like you said, squeezing the dollar until it screams.
We do. We really do.
$20,000 for 2 houses and the staff and everything that you provide for these young moms
is
pretty phenomenal.
Yes. But we get a lot of support from the church community, diapers and wipes, personal care items from shampoo to deodorant to razors and toothbrushes and toothpaste. We have churches that do personal care campaigns for the girls so that they have those, because they oftentimes arrive at Living Grace with everything they own in an Albertsons bag or the bag from the emergency room at the hospital. And so they oftentimes are starting with just the clothes on their back and very little else.
When we first started the discussion a few minutes ago, and I was referring to the fact that sometimes parents do tell the girl to go, I remember when I was a teen, that used to be a threat. I don't think my mom meant to be evil in her approach, but she said, if you ever come home pregnant, I will disown you. And until we started talking about this today, I'd honestly forgotten. That's been a long time ago.
And you know what? Most of the time when parents make that threat, there really would never be a follow-through on it. You know, as parents, we say things to our kids all the time. And my mother and father had 10 children. And when we got to where there were 4 or 5 of us in our teenage years, our parents used to threaten to leave home with no forwarding address. And it was a joke. But today, I take in girls whose parents literally move and leave no forwarding address. I have had girls where I do the intake and ask for information on their parents, and they leave the address blank because they don't know where their mom or their dad is now living. So things that we as parents sometimes say in jest, who would have ever thought that that would end up being a reality for someone?
Wow. I was also thinking back to the first season of Glee. I was one of those little Gleeks who loved that show when it first started. And Quinn, one of the main characters on the show, needed to find a place to live because she came home pregnant and she was not allowed to stay. It's still enough of a factor to where in a very hot show just a few seasons ago, that was one of the main storylines of the show. It happens.
Dealing with teen pregnancy, yes, it does happen. And our statistics at Living Grace Home are that the vast majority of our girls come from single-parent homes, homes where there's either been a divorce or the parent was never married. So oftentimes that teen pregnancy is the straw that breaks the camel's back. I have had calls from moms who have said, I have 3 other children at home, I have a special needs child, I can't do this. So sometimes they just need somebody to help. And honestly, if there's a parent involved and they need our help, we are just tickled to cooperate with the parent to the point where we can make sure that that child is getting to their doctor's appointments, is getting the prenatal care that they need, is taking their prenatal vitamin and drinking all their water. I'm sometimes the water Nazi at Living Grace because I just insist that they drink their gallon of water every day during their pregnancy. My office is in the back and I'll walk through to get a cup of coffee and the girls will, I'm drinking my water, Kathleen, I'm drinking my water.
I was just watching a comedy show over the weekend, just a few days ago, and the comedian was saying, remember when you were a kid and your parents told you to drink water and you thought it was punishment? Water!
Right.
It's really important.
Very much so. I've had more than half of the girls to the emergency room with contractions because they thought they were in preterm labor and they were dehydrated. And some we've had that have been severely dehydrated and have had to be put on an IV to get their fluids up to where they could function again. So it is a serious issue, especially in the desert.
Yeah, right here where we get dehydrated so easily.
Especially in the desert, yes.
When you mentioned that a lot of these girls come to you in this situation to the Living Grace Home in Henderson, by the way. We're talking with Kathleen Miller, the executive director, loving all the stories I'm getting from you about this wonderful place. And I'm so glad getting you on the radar screen a little more. I think to get the word out is always a wonderful thing on something like this.
Thank you, yes.
But when these girls come and they don't have anywhere else, besides helping them with the pregnancy and all the things to help make them strong and well-informed and educated on parenting and getting them through school, I would imagine when they really don't have anybody else in their life that they're super close to, you also become kind of a family.
We do. We are part of their extended family for many of the young ladies, but they also make bonds with the other girls that are in the home during their stay there, sometimes with the girls that were there just prior to them, sometimes with those that come just after them. Many of the girls maintain contact with Living Grace for the duration. As I said, we're approaching the 8th year, February 1st, and our second resident still is in contact with Living Grace Home. Occasionally she will come and volunteer and do a shift staying with the other girls, and she loves to regale them with stories of that first year.
And that's what I was wondering, if they came back around, because when they are part of that family, I mean, I would imagine that those ties extend well beyond the time that they're actually pregnant and delivering that little child.
Yes.
So you're getting a bigger family all the time, basically.
Right. Actually, I was at an appointment with one of the girls a couple of months ago, and I was holding her baby, and a lady sat down next to me, and she said, "Oh, is this your first grandchild?" And I said, "No, it's my 136th." So...
What was the look on her face like?
Yes, she did give me one of those looks, and so then I explained to her that I was the director at Living Grace Home. We're hopefully moving from that executive director that also doubles sometimes as a house parent and the taxi driver and the labor coach to a more grown-up agency, but I really don't look forward to the time where I don't have that personal contact with the girls, because it's been extremely rewarding to have the hands-on opportunity. Many of them refer to me as Aunt Kathleen.
I have a really close friend who, after her children grew up, she said, "I miss the smell of babies." Who doesn't love babies?
Right. And that's one of our volunteer positions that's listed on Volunteer Match for the second home, because there's 4 moms and 4 babies at the second home, because that's the transition. And the title for that position is Rocking the Babies. So, yes, we have some people that want to volunteer because they just want to go get that grandma time.
Who doesn't want to pick up a baby and hold them and talk to them? And,
right.
Oh, you probably rely on volunteers quite a lot.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. We have a very small staff. We have live-in house parents at each home. We have 1 executive director, 1 office assistant who is a part-time position, and 1 social worker. And then we have 1 person who is the overnight supervisor on the nights that the house parents are off. And we transport these girls to all of their necessary appointments. That means that each house needs approximately 20 volunteers a week, because we, in addition to the transportation, the house parents can't work 24 hours a day.
Sure.
And so they need 8 hours a day that they're off. They're overnight plus 8 hours a day. So they need 8 hours a day off. That's 2 4-hour shifts at each house. So yes, we are very dependent on volunteers. We also have volunteers that come in and do crafts with the girls. We have volunteers that would prefer to come in and tutor somebody because that's what their strength is. And we always want the volunteers to bring their own gifts and talents to the table, because there's always going to be a girl that is going to respond to a particular volunteer and their gifts.
What a wonderful opportunity to volunteer and do something that you're good at, or hold babies and cuddle them. There's just got to be a whole slew of things that you could do to help the Living Grace Home, which the more I hear about it, the more I'm in love with this place. And until just recently, I didn't even know that you guys existed.
That has been my focus for the last year and a half. The first 5.5, 6.5 years that we were open, I did a very good job. I believe my staff and volunteers and I did a good job of getting the information to those agencies that referred the young ladies to us. The school nurses and counselors, the Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth, the Street Teens, Catholic Charities, the Shannon West Center, all refer girls to Living Grace Home, because I did a good job of making sure they knew that we were here. But I didn't do as good a job letting the business community and the donor community know that there was some place where they could donate, that they could help, that they could volunteer, that they could mentor. Women-owned businesses are a great fit for Living Grace, to have somebody come in and talk to the girls about their ability to move beyond burgers and fries into being entrepreneurs and being able to have their own business and fulfill their own dreams. And so I'm working at trying to get those businesses aware of our presence. So when I say I beg, but I also will speak any place that they invite me, any time of day, as long as there's not somebody going into labor.
That would trump everything else.
Yes,
that's okay.
It does. It
With
does.
Priority 1, baby coming, got to stop and take care of that right now.
It does.
I think it's cute, though, how you take responsibility for not getting the word out to the general public. How many hours a week do you think you can actually work? I want to call you Wonder Woman. It's not all on you. It's also a shared responsibility for the rest of us to shine a light on Living Grace Home.
I really appreciate it.
What a wonderful group. I would imagine that you have to go out and beg to get some money every now and then to be able to carry on with these activities. So
yes,
if somebody wants to do a donation.
Our website is very simply livinggracehome.com.
Mm-hmm.
And our phone number is 702-212-6666. 702-212-6472. 702-212-6472.
Got it. And hope is born here.
Hope is born here.
I love that slogan.
Yes.
And it's not all on you to have to tell everybody about Living Grace Home. The name of this show is Talking Solutions. I always say it's easy to identify a problem, but we are more interested in the solution. Obviously, that's what Living Grace Home is all about.
Living Grace is very much a solution. But it's a community solution. The community is absolutely integral to making it possible for these young ladies to get back on their feet, get a second chance, turn their lives around, and become productive members of our community.
LivingGraceHome.com. I think you should consider checking out the website. There's a lot of interesting things on there. LivingGraceHome.com. Donate if you can. Volunteering sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like there's a lot of opportunities there.
Oh, it can be. It can be a hoot.
Living Grace Home in Henderson. Kathleen Miller, the Executive Director. What a blessing to have you here with us today on Talking Solutions.
Thank you so much, Terry.
One of the things we're going to talk about a little bit later on is the scholarships that they give out with the Nevada Broadcasters Association. We'll get to that. Speaking of students, Lori is our Beasley Media Group intern for the summer. It's nice having you here.
Nice being here. Thank you.
Are we doing a good job by you, Lori? Are we sending you around to all the different departments? Because I think it's really important that we don't think of interns as just free help. You're not. You're here to learn. So we want to share what we think is a wonderful experience. We are glad you're here.
Thank you.
Can you tell us internship?
It's through Clark County Summer Business Institute.
Just coming out of high school?
I am. I graduated from Spring Valley High School. I'm going to UNLV in the fall.
So you're getting ready by spending some time, a summer internship program with us.
Correct, yeah.
Have you decided what you're going to study? A lot of times when you're starting school, you're not quite sure what your major is going to be.
I've known what I wanted my major to be since the beginning of high school. I'm majoring in journalism.
That makes sense. That explains one of the reasons why you're here with us today.
Yeah.
I know that this week I've been working with Lori, and we are having her in our news talk area with Kate on, observing some things, and also looking at my job as the Community Relations and Public Service Director. So, Lori, as part of your summer internship program, you guys are getting involved also in some kind of charity function?
Civic engagement project, yeah.
Tell me what you got going on, because we can shine a light on it right now, right here.
Basically, the Summer Business Institute has 111 students this year. They broke us up into 3 groups, and my group is doing an event for senior citizens. There's another group that's doing a tree planting event, and then there's another group that's doing like a fun day for children. So basically, my group, we're doing a Super Senior Saturday, and we need help with donations. We're making care packages for a program called TIP, which is Trauma Intervention Program of Southern Nevada. And the day that we're doing this event is July 18th from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Cora Coleman Senior Center. That day we're building the kits for TIP, and then we're also doing a luncheon for the seniors and offering them entertainment while they eat. I'm really excited for the event. I love being involved in my community, and I think this is a great opportunity.
Next Saturday is the 18th, and as part of our whole internship process, one of the things I asked Lori to help with this week is to let us help. We wanted to make a public service announcement for the event. I asked you if you would write something up, and then you voiced it, and you produced it, and I got to play that.
Okay.
I want everybody to hear what Lori came up with.
Bingo! The Summer Business Institute presents Super Senior Saturday on Saturday, July 18th, and we need your help to make this event a success. If you have tissues, chapstick, small water bottles, or sunscreen, then bing it on. All donations will benefit the Trauma Intervention Program of Southern Nevada. For more information, contact Dominique Hernandez at 702-752-0290 or log on to kdwn.com.
Nice job, Lori. You did great work.
Thank you.
Not only did you write it, you also voiced it, and you produced it, mixed it down, put it into the system. You learn quick, girl. Now, as far as this event next Saturday, what you're looking for us to do is you really want to know if we have any of these items that you need donated.
That's correct. And some of the items are water bottles, small water bottles, actually, sunscreen, blankets, stuffed animals, non-perishable snacks, hand sanitizer, just small things that we can put in these kits.
If somebody could help you with donations,
contact Dominique Hernandez at 702-752-0290, or you can log on to the KDON page at www.kdwn.com.
Give us donated items for this event, the Super Senior Saturday, which is next Saturday, July 18th at the Senior Center. They will be put into boxes for the Trauma Intervention Program.
That's correct, yeah.
Good deal. We just love having young, enthusiastic, willing to learn people because we're always wanting to share what a great career broadcasting really can be.
I agree.
You want to stick around? You want to stay after your internship?
I do. I really do.
I'll put a good word in for you.
Thank you.
Lori's doing a great job, and I know you'll be with us for about another month or so, going on to study journalism at UNLV. And you're going to keep up with us. You know all about us, so you'll be coming back to check in, right?
I will.
We love having students who are interested in broadcasting here at Beasley Media Group. In fact, our next talk is with the president of the Nevada Broadcasters Association. Their Hall of Fame gala that's coming up in mid-August helps to hand out, I believe this year we're going to look at maybe 20 different scholarships for students who are enthusiastic and willing and wanting to learn this kind of business. We'll be talking with the president of the Nevada Broadcasters Association, Mary Beth Seawald, coming up after this on Talking Solutions. Lori, thanks for coming in to tell us your story.
Thank you.